Welcome to English Literary Studies. I am S.P. Dubey, Assistant Professor, Sant Tulsidas PG College, Kadipur, Sultanpur. Dear students, in this video lecture, we shall discuss about Coleridge's concept of fancy and imagination. You must be familiar with Coleridge. As you know, like William Wordsworth, Coleridge was also a great poet and critic of the Romantic era. In his critical work Biographia Literaria, Coleridge discusses about his theory of poetry. In this book, Coleridge gives his opinion about the function and nature of poetry. Now let me tell you something about Biographia Literaria. It's a very important critical work of Coleridge. It was published in the year 1817, and in chapter 13 and 14 of this book, Coleridge gives his opinion about imagination and fancy. So in this lecture, we shall discuss about Coleridge's concept of imagination and fancy. It is very important concept as far as literary criticism is concerned, as far as romantic criticism is concerned. So let us try to understand what is imagination and what is fancy according to Coleridge. First, let us try to understand what is imagination. In Biographia Literaria, Coleridge speaks in detail about the concept of imagination. According to Coleridge, imagination is the power of receiving impressions of the external world. According to Coleridge, imagination is the power of receiving impressions from the external world. Whatever we see, whatever we perceive, it is possible only because of the imagination. And also, dear students, Coleridge says imagination can be classified into two forms: the primary imagination and the secondary imagination. So let us first try to understand what is primary imagination according to Coleridge. According to Coleridge, primary imagination is the power of receiving the impressions of the external world through senses. It is the power of perceiving the material world with the help of our sense organs. So whatever we perceive, whatever we listen, whatever we recognize, it is made possible only because of the primary imagination. So Coleridge says that primary imagination is a spontaneous act of the mind. So this is very important. You should remember, primary imagination is a spontaneous act of the mind. It is automatic. It does not require any effort on our part. Every individual, every human being is gifted with this capacity or this power of the primary imagination. The human mind receives impressions and sensations from the outside world involuntarily. We see, we feel, we listen. It does not require any effort from our part. It is a primary gift given by nature to all human beings. But remember, you should remember, this is specific to human beings. Perhaps the animals, the birds and other species of animals, they don't have this power of imagination, and therefore they cannot recognize the world, or they cannot view the world as we are able to recognize it. We are able to recognize everything. We are able to recognize, we are able to differentiate individuals from each other. We can recognize our houses, we can recognize our schools and college. All these are made possible only because of the primary imagination. So the primary imagination imposes some sort of order on those impressions, reduces them to shape and size, so that the mind is able to form a clear image of the outside world. In this way, clear and coherent perception becomes possible. It is because of the primary imagination that clear and coherent perception is made possible. And after the primary imagination, now let us see the secondary imagination. Now, according to Coleridge, secondary imagination is specifically found in artists, poets and creative writers. So this is a fundamental difference between the primary imagination and the secondary imagination. While the primary imagination is found in every individual, the secondary imagination is found only in artists, poets, or creative writers. So we can say that the secondary imagination is the creative faculty. According to Coleridge, secondary imagination is the creative faculty. Whatever the artist, the poet, or the author creates, it is possible only because of the secondary imagination. Everybody cannot create, everybody cannot write a poem, everybody cannot become a painter or an artist because everybody is not gifted with the secondary imagination. So the secondary imagination is the creative faculty, and this secondary imagination is the root of all poetic activity. Coleridge calls it a magical synthetic power. So you should remember, Coleridge calls this secondary imagination a magical and synthetic power. The secondary imagination has unifying power. Also, this is important. According to Coleridge, the secondary imagination has a unifying power. It synthesizes or fuses the various faculties of the soul, that is, perception, intellect, will, and emotion. The secondary imagination has the capacity to synthesize or to fuse all the faculties of the soul. Whatever we see, whatever we perceive, or whatever we think, our emotions, everything can be fused or synthesized by the secondary imagination. And the secondary imagination, it does all these things to create something new. Secondary imagination requires an effort of the will. So this is also a very important difference between the primary imagination and the secondary imagination. While the primary imagination is automatic, every individual is gifted with primary imagination, the secondary imagination requires an effort. It does not come to everybody. It requires some effort. One has to try, one has to work hard for the secondary imagination. So the secondary imagination requires an effort of the will, volition, and conscious effort. It works upon its raw material collected by the primary imagination, like the sensations, impressions, and the images. So the secondary imagination, it takes or it works on the raw materials collected by the primary imagination. As I told you earlier, the primary imagination, it collects perceptions, images, and stores in the mind, and the secondary imagination, it works upon those images, those impressions, and those perceptions to create something new. So in a nutshell, we can say that the primary imagination collects information, images, perception from the outside world, and the secondary imagination synthesizes and fuses them to create something new, to create an artistic work, to create a poem. So this is the fundamental difference between the primary imagination and the secondary imagination. The primary imagination, it collects the images, data, or impressions, sensations from the outside world, and the secondary imagination fuses and combines them. Also, dear students, you should remember one more word, that is asemplastic. Now, the secondary imagination has asemplastic. It is also called, it has asemplastic power. That means it has a shaping and modifying power. Whatever images, perceptions, sensations are collected by the primary imagination, the secondary imagination reshapes and modifies them to create something new. It reshapes the objects of the external world into order and beauty. The secondary imagination, according to Coleridge, dissolves, diffuses, dissipates in order to recreate. So this is the definition given by Coleridge. You can remember it regarding the secondary imagination, that the secondary imagination dissolves, diffuses, dissipates in order to recreate. Now let us come to fancy. As you know, Coleridge makes a difference between imagination and fancy. We have seen what is imagination. Now let us consider what is fancy according to Coleridge. Coleridge regards fancy to be the inferior to imagination. First of all, Coleridge believes that there is a fundamental difference between imagination and fancy. Fancy is inferior to imagination. It cannot be compared or it cannot be put at the same level as imagination. And the most important difference is that fancy is not a creative power. According to Coleridge, fancy is not a creative power. It is the imagination which is creative power, and fancy is not a creative power. Fancy only combines different things into different shapes. So Coleridge says that fancy only combines different things into different shapes. It does not fuse or synthesize the images or perception like the imagination. Fancy does not fuse or synthesize to create something new. It only combines different things together, and therefore it cannot create something new. According to Coleridge, fancy is the process of bringing together dissimilar images. Coleridge believes that fancy brings together dissimilar objects. It associates dissimilar objects. It does not synthesize or fuse them. It is a mechanical power. Fancy is the ability of the poet to use devices like figure of speech in poetry in order to display artistic ornamentation. So, dear students, this is the difference between imagination and fancy. Before I end this lecture, now let me summarize what we discussed today. Coleridge in Biographia Literaria makes a distinction between fancy and imagination. According to Coleridge, imagination can be divided into two forms: primary imagination and secondary imagination. Primary imagination is the power of receiving impressions of the external world through the senses. इसका अर्थ ये हुआ कि एक्सटर्नल वर्ल्ड से हम जो कुछ भी देखते हैं, सुनते हैं या महसूस करते हैं, वह प्राइमरी इमेजिनेशन की वजह से संभव हो पाता है. अगर प्राइमरी इमेजिनेशन नहीं होता तो बाहरी दुनिया में जो कुछ भी हो रहा है, इस नेचर में, इस वर्ल्ड में जो चीज़ें हैं, शायद हम उसे महसूस नहीं कर सकते, उसे समझ नहीं पाते. जैसा कि हम देखते हैं जो एनिमल्स हैं या जो बर्ड्स हैं, शायद उनके अंदर उतनी इमेजिनेशन नहीं है जितना कि ह्यूमन बींग्स में है. इसलिए हमारा जो वर्ल्ड है वह जानवर या एनिमल्स के वर्ल्ड से बिल्कुल अलग है. हम काफ़ी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हैं, काफ़ी कॉम्प्लेक्स हैं, हम सोच सकते हैं, इमेजिन कर सकते हैं. देयरफॉर आवर वर्ल्ड इज़ अ वास्ट वर्ल्ड. हम काफ़ी चीज़ों के बारे में सोच और समझ सकते हैं, लेकिन जो जानवर हैं, जो एनिमल्स हैं, जो बर्ड्स हैं, शायद वो इस तरह से नहीं सोचते या समझते हैं जैसा कि एक मानव सोच और समझ सकता है. ऐसा इसलिए होता है क्योंकि उनके पास इमेजिनेशन नहीं है. ह्यूमन बींग्स के पास इमेजिनेशन है और ये प्राइमरी इमेजिनेशन है. ये हर इंसान में होता है. जो प्राइमरी इमेजिनेशन है, इट कैन बी फाउंड इन एवरी इंडिविजुअल. इट इज ऑटोमेटिक एंड इनवॉलेंटरी. ऑन द अदर हैंड, कॉलरिज स्पीक्स अबाउट द सेकेंडरी इमेजिनेशन. और कॉलरिज कहता है कि जो सेकेंडरी इमेजिनेशन है, दिस इज ए क्रिएटिव फैकल्टी. ये क्रिएट करता है. जो आर्टिस्ट हैं, पोएट हैं, ये हर कोई पोएम क्यों नहीं लिख सकता, हर कोई आर्टिस्ट क्यों नहीं बन सकता, हर कोई पेंटर क्यों नहीं बन सकता है. ऐसा इसलिए क्योंकि अगर हम कॉलेज की थ्योरी को माने तो सबके पास सेकेंडरी इमेजिनेशन नहीं होता है. जिसके पास सेकेंडरी इमेजिनेशन है वही क्रिएट कर सकता है, वही कुछ आर्टिस्टिक वर्क को जन्म दे सकता है, सृजन कर सकता है. सो सेकेंडरी इमेजिनेशन क्रिएट्स न्यू शेप्स एंड फॉर्म्स by fusing and unifying the different impressions it receives from the external world. According to Coleridge, let us come to now fancy. Regarding fancy, Coleridge says that it is a kind of memory. So fancy is not a creative faculty. Fancy does not create anything. It is only a kind of memory. ये याद करने की तरह, जैसे हम किसी चीज़ को याद करते हैं, तो हम जब किसी चीज़ को याद करते हैं, that is not a creation. वह तो सिर्फ हम उस पिछली घटना को या किसी चीज़ के बारे में सोचते हैं और उसे याद करते हैं, उस इमेज को दोबारा अपने दिमाग में लाने की कोशिश करते हैं। तो फैंसी जो है, इट इज़ ए काइंड ऑफ मेमोरी, इट ब्रिंग्स टुगेदर इमेजेस but does not fuse or synthesize them. Even when the images are brought together, they continue to retain their separate individual properties. So this is all about fancy and imagination, the distinction between fancy and imagination as propounded by Coleridge in his famous critical book Biographia Literaria. And with this, dear students, I would like to end my today's lecture. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you once again.